Stephen East jumps from runner-up, the position he has held since 2012, when he debuted on the All-America Research Team, all the way to first place in the home builders and building products sector. The analyst, who works out of St. Louis, explains why builder sentiment is running high even as new home sales are sluggish, and why he's upbeat for the year ahead.
The builder index just hit a 7-month high. I get a lot of questions whether it's sustainable or not and what's going on. I think a few things are going on. I think one, you're finally seeing a broader recovery across the entire U.S. in housing. I think the second thing is this survey is made up primarily of private builders. Private builders early in the recovery had no access to capital. Now banks are knocking on their door wanting to lend, and so they feel much better about being able to take advantage of the recovery. So I do think it's sustainable. We're in the early innings of what will probably be a 5 to 7 year housing recovery in my mind. The new home sales have been fairly inconsistent, and I think what it's going to take for that to turn into a more consistent indicator of the housing market are a few things. One, job growth has to be more consistent. We've had fairly weak job growth, and it's bounced around quite a bit over the last 2 years. I think the second thing is we have to have credit availability that improves. Qualified people, particularly first-time home buyers, are not able to get a mortgage, and that's unusual. They should be able to. The standards are just too high right now, and so as that eases, it's easing a bit, but as it eases further, I think you'll see new home sales consistently grow and the housing market recover nicely. I think the Fed raises rates probably in the middle of 2015 with a slight bias to maybe happening earlier. I think the impact on housing really depends on how it plays out. We've done studies historically looking at rate cycles, and when rates rise, the impact on housing, and at the end of the day, speed kills when it comes to interest rates and housing. So if the rates move very quickly, you can expect the housing market to struggle quite a bit. But regardless, typically what happens is when rates rise, volumes fall, the equity prices are mixed in their performance, but surprisingly, average sales prices of houses continue to rise throughout the entire rate cycle lift. And I would expect we'll see similar type of actions this time around. My outlook for the next year or so is really fairly optimistic, but it's based on job growth. At ISI, we think that jobs will grow over 200,000 a month, and in that environment, we think that housing will do well. We think we could see new construction up probably 25% or so over the next year. If we don't get that job growth, then I think we'll struggle a lot because we just won't get the household formation. And that household is what drives new construction and new housing. So I think it's going to be really critical over the next year that we see that job growth. And I think generally the entry level and the first move up buyers have the potential to do the best, because job growth inordinately affects the younger buyer, and it helps them more. If credit continues to ease, that will also help that particular buyer, and I would expect that'll be the strongest segment of the market. Overall, whether you're talking about home builders or building products, I think that in that environment both do well fundamentally and on the equity side.